J.V. Foix was the greatest poet of the Catalan avant-garde, and he's probably one of the greatest poets in Catalan literature ever, from the Middle Ages up to the present. He was contemporary to Catalan avant-garde artists such as Joan Miró and Salvador Dalí, whom he was very related to, but his language was not painting but poetry, and that's the only reason he's not better known elsewhere. He was very connected to the avant-garde of his time. To surrealism with André Breton, Paul Eluard, and he was a great admirer of the Italian painter Giorgio de Chirico, whose aesthetics are very close to his. He's been often compared to. To explain what he does in his aesthetics, the world he creates, and the effect he produces in language, I would place him to the English reader, to Latin translation. I would say he sounds somewhere in between Ezra Pound and Charles Simic. But he had a project of his own. His language is quite unique. In a way, he creates a language, and he creates his own literature. He establishes a continuity with the medieval troubadours, the Occitan and Provençal troubadours, and the dolce stile nuovo of Italian poets such as Dante and Petrarca in the Renaissance, the medieval poets and the medieval Catalan poets such as Ramon Llull and Ausiàs March, futurist avant-garde and the modern poetry of his time. And he creates a mode of his own. His originality, it's hard to explain his originality, and has to be experienced reading his poetry, as you can do in this anthology translated by Lawrence Penuti.
Daybook, 1918, fragments. I wounded your lover gravely in a duel, yet you mock the incident by wearing the crimson dress, and by replacing the lover deceitfully with the scene shifter at the theater. I would punish your misdeeds if the barber had not been your accomplice in disfiguring my face so grotesquely. On another fine morning, however, I will take my revenge. The ceiling will not be as now so very low, nor will so many dead birds as now be painted on it.
Catalan poet and visual artist Joan Brossa, who was very close to Foix when he was young. Brossa was a great admirer of García Lorca, the Spanish poet, and he once told me that he went to J.V. Foix and asked him, hey, he was very young, he was a young writer. Foix, do you like García Lorca's poetry? And Foix, who was a contemporary to Lorca, said, honestly, I like him, but not that much, because if you read García Lorca, many of the things he writes doesn't make sense. Of course, Lorca was in many ways very influenced by surrealism. So many of his poems don't make sense in the traditional way. J.V. Foix said, my poetry is not like that. Everything I say in my poems can be done. And it's true, it's possible. It's not only that you can visualize it, it's that it can be dramatized. So he creates a world that the old and the new mix together and produce a new a new reality. He used to talk about the poetic real, and the poetic real, real poetic, the poetic real. I guess he was meaning something like that. This new world that he creates in his poems, in these beautiful prose poems, but also in his beautiful lines. I wish that English readers take advantage of this new opportunity to read Foix in English. The poetic real might be this, the world that he creates and can only be experienced.